Okay. So yeah, let's talk about this. So when we apply points, just so you know, that'd be pretty easy. We can find the midpoint, which is the average of the two endpoints. And you look at that formula, it looks kind of weird, like x1, x2 divided by 2, y1, y2 divided by 2. It's strictly an average of the endpoints. That's all you're doing. So you don't really have to memorize this formula. Just realize we're doing an average. So we're going to do that. Um, we're also going to twist it a little bit where you get the midpoint on one of the endpoints, you have to find the other endpoint. So that's a little bit of a twist. Distance formula could be kind of daunting. I mean, that looks kind of crazy, right? Like, you guys ever just in Algebra 1 or maybe in middle school? This formula, does that look familiar? It looks a little daunting because like you see a letter, you see four different variables. You see these subscripts like x sub 2, x sub 1, y sub 2, y sub 1. And you see a squared and plus and parentheses and radicals. It's just a bunch of stuff, right? And some students say, so I can't do this because I don't know the formula. BS, you don't need to know the formula. What you need to do is use Pythagorean theorem. Pythagorean theorem will always save the day with these kind of problems because that formula is derived from Pythagorean theorem. And I'll show you how and when we get there. So yes, it's formulaic, but if you approach it from a conceptual perspective, you'll be fine. Because I hate memorization. I chose to study STEM because I hate memorization. Like biology, I hate biology. Okay, I cannot stand memorization. But I love application, and that's what this is. This is application. So we'll get to that, and then we'll do this should like take us up to close to 10 o'clock today. And when we have our break, after our break, we'll talk about the quadratic formula. So that's the other thing we're going to do today. And the quad form, I think what I'll wind up doing is I'll do a couple examples. There's not too many examples today for quad form. I think it's just 8 total, if I'm not mistaken. And then there's some simplification of radicals that's going on as well. So I'll wind up doing like a couple of these, and then I'll let you guys kind of do the rest. Maybe we'll go on the board, and I'll like watch you guys do these problems. So I think that would be good for us. And then at that point, we will, um, if we have a chance to go over the assessment from yesterday, we'll do that. If not, that's okay. We could try to do some Delta math because I know we didn't have a chance at yesterday. And then, of course, we'll have our homework quiz at the end. And homework quiz is just more to see what you remembered from a couple days ago. Um, okay, so that's just the overview. So let's now dive into it. All right, so this one here, if you already kind of got a little bit ahead while I was yapping, do you guys know how the plot points? Pretty straightforward. Remember, X is always the first one, and Y is the second one. Naturally, because X comes before Y in the alphabet, right? So when you see 5 comma 10, locate 5 on the why is it showing that? Okay. Um, yeah, locate 5 on the x-axis, locate 10 on the y-axis, and plot the point. And that's J. Yeah, I should. I know. It's gonna get a little busy after a while, but yeah, just so you know what's what. I is obviously over here. So this is incredibly boring. This is like just please shoot me. Like this is just terrible. But we gotta do it just to practice it. Okay, I'll freeze the screen. Once you guys fill out the rest, if you have, just hang tight. I'll get this done in just a moment. Of course, yeah, go for it. Yeah. Hold on. I feel like I'm missing a point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I got it all. Cool. Should be 10 points. There we go. Pretty straightforward. We cool with that? Okay. So not too hard. Okay. So let's keep moving. Oh, wait, some guys still jotting points down. Okay, midpoint formula. As I said, it's simply the average of your two endpoints. So you're given 2 points. You want to find the point that's exactly between those 2 points. So if I look at this here, sure, I can get very formulaic. This is -1, -1, right? That's -5, -5. Great. And I could just say, hey, -5 plus -1 divided by 2, comma, -5 plus -1 divided by 2. So it's -3, comma, -3. So you can get incredibly formulaic, right? But really just think about it. Just look at it. What's halfway between -1 and -5? -3. Because what's the distance between them? 4. What's the distance between the y coordinates? 4. Let's have 4, 2. What's 2 away from each one? -3. Right? That's it. That's all you ever have to do. So like this one here. Remember 3, and I'll guess have you guys try the other ones in a moment. So that's -5, comma 5. That's 2, comma -5. Okay, great. So if you just kind of count it, what's halfway between 5 and -5? What's halfway between the y coordinates? You have 5 here and -5 here. What's halfway between? 0, right? And if you think about it, make sure I'm doing this correctly in my head. Yeah. What's the average of -5 and 2? If you add those up and divide by 2, what's -5 plus 2, then divide by 2? What's -5 plus 2? Negative, and then -3/2. That's it. So there you go. -3/2, comma 0. And plus it looks like it, it's very visual, right? Now, of course, these are drawn for you. So it's very visual by nature. But sometimes what will happen, you'll be just given the coordinates. Like you might be given a problem, like, I'll just draw on the board. You say, hey, here's like, 1, comma 8 and 5, comma 10. Find the midpoint. We know what I would do? Just do a rough sketch, right? Do a rough sketch. And you read, oh yeah, 3, oh yeah, 9. Done. Right? I didn't have to do any formulas. I just looked at it and did it. So that's what we want to do. So now you get a chance to practice that. So go ahead and try this for 4 through 7. 8 and 9, let's do together. 8 and 9 is a little funny. But go and try 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll hit pause. I'll do it as well. And we'll compare in just a moment. Ooh, 7's kind of funny. 7, you probably need a calculator. Any objections? And feel free to question me. I could make mistakes. No objections. We're okay. We're good.
All right. Okay. Again, just averaging the x's and y's. That's all we're doing. Now let's talk about 8 and 9. Now for 8 and 9, you could approach it from an algebraic perspective. I'll show you how to approach it algebraically, but I'm also going to show you how to do it graphically too. But let me wait till you guys are
Makes sense. This again, 1/2, 3 halves. 1/2 comma 1, 1/2 comma 3 halves. Sorry, -1 comma 2, 1/2 1, 1/2 comma 3 halves of 1.29 comma -1.35.
okay. So for 8 and 9, then we'll move on to distance formula. You're given an endpoint and a midpoint. So I'm going to draw and do kind of a rough sketch. You don't have to draw like all these different tick marks in between, just kind of just estimate where those would be. So that's my endpoint. Let's say I call this A. I'll call the midpoint M. I'll call the other endpoint B. Now, -9, -10. Yikes. Let's go back here. I'm gonna have to adjust this. Hold on. Just realized errors in my ways. That'll be M. So one beauty about doing this on Zoom is I have this capability. Of shifting this over. Lovely. Okay, you guys agree so far with the points I plotted, the locations? We're okay with that? Okay. So the other endpoint, where do you think the other endpoint is going to be?
Is it gonna be somewhere up here in the first quadrant? Or somewhere up here in the second quadrant? Or the third quadrant? Or the fourth? Yeah, probably the third quadrant, right? Just visual, right? That's why it's good as visual. This helps us understand, right? It sticks, it retains. Also the fact that before I get to my next point, do you guys understand how the quadrants are labeled? Do you know like this is quadrant 1? Yeah, it goes 1, 2. It's weird. It goes counterclockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyway, all right. So it's got to be there. Actually, I didn't have another point.
It's in the third quadrant, right? It's very visual. So it's going to be over here somewhere. Now, where exactly is that going to be? Well, this is where it gets very visual.
How far did I travel horizontally? Go from 8 to 10. How far did I travel horizontally? 8. So should I go 8 the other way? Yeah. How far did I travel vertically? Go from 8 down. From this to this. How far is this going down? Yes, 19.
Go down 19. There you go. So just do some simple math. -17 and -29. Comes incredibly visual. Do you have to draw like 29 tick marks? No, don't do that. Or 17 tick marks? No, don't do that. You're just kind of sort of ballparking it a little bit. Yeah. So it's going to be -17, comma, -29. And you'd be surprised that you'll see some students who really kind of flub this because they will get into all the algebra and they'll just get so like procedural about it, and then they make a mistake and they get something really weird. You don't get weird. If you do visually correct, if you visualize it, it won't get weird, because you see it, right? Now, if you were to do it algebraically, I will show that to you. I'll do it off to the corner here, but then I want you to do number 9 on your own after I finish this. If you so desire to do it algebraically, you could say -1 plus x sub 2 over 2 equals -9. You could do that. You totally can. Right? Because I'm taking the endpoint, the x coord 1 endpoint. I don't know the x coord of the second endpoint, but the average of that equals the x coord of the midpoint. But I get some students that sometimes make a careless mistake and they get something really funny. And then they have the lack of confidence, right? Because if you're, I think there, I don't know. And It's like, no, you do know if you do it graphically. You do know. It's clear as day. So that's why I prefer you approach it from a graphical perspective. So you get that, sure. If I did it for y, sure. 9 plus y sub 2 over 2 equals -10. Work that out, sure. It'll be okay. So you get that. So yeah, there you go. Okay, so we're okay with that? Okay, try number 9. Try number 9 on your own. I'll freeze the screen and then we'll move on to distance format after that. Okay. So if I just do a quick sketch, 2, 5, I'll call this A. 5, 1, call this M. And lastly, I don't know where the other point is, but somewhere over here roughly, right? How far do I need to go to the right? What do you guys think? If I went from 2 to 5, how much more do I need to go the other way? 3 more, so I got to go 8. Okay, if I went from 5 to 1, I dropped by how much when I went from 5 to 1?
4.
So I got to drop another 4. See how that's very lovely? Makes this very, very simple. Of course, go for it. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it makes sense. If you could verify it. 2 plus 8 divided by 2 is 5. 5 plus 93 divided by 2 is 1. Yeah, makes sense. So, yep. So there we go. Okay, distance formula. So question about midpoint, we're okay now? Seems to make sense from visual. We're going to do the same approach for distance formula. So it's a wacky formula. Let me derive it for you guys. I'm going to, so you might need to find some space, or you can just watch. It's fine too. So the derivation of, I'm going to derive this for you. The derivation of the distance formula. Here's why it is the way it is. Let's say I pick some random point and call it x1, y1. Great. Pick another random point called x2, y2. Great. and connect them. Okay. And call it D. And then I decided to do this. What did I just create, guys? A right triangle. Now, you guys might remember Pythagorean theorem, right? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. In this case, it'll be A squared plus B squared equals D squared, the way I set it up. But, regardless of the letters, we do know that both legs squared, then added, equals hypotenuse squared. This is a very famous theorem. Dates back thousands of years, right? Some Greek mathematician Pythagoras, whatever his name is. Right? So, great. Well, here's the deal. A is the horizontal leg, right? How do I determine the length of that from the coordinates? What would I subtract to get the length of A? I do x2 minus, correct, good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to straight up just substitute x2 minus x1 for A, right? Just straight up just substitute it, right? That's logical. B, it's my vertical leg. How would I use the coordinates? Yeah, totally, right? That's why I won. There you go. Okay. So replace B with that. Equals D squared. Now we're almost home. So D squared equals that chunk. Well, if I want D by itself, what would I apply to? What mathematical operator would I apply to this? Square root, bear square root the other side. Bear square root the other side, right? So if I square root this junk, root it, and voila, you get that. That's where it comes from. It's straight up Pythagorean theorem. That's all it ever is. So with that knowledge, I'm going to approach every problem like that. I'm just going to draw a right triangle, find the horizontal leg, find the vertical leg, and do Pythagorean theorem to get the hypotenuse. Because the hypotenuse is the distance between the 2 points that I want. That's all it ever is. Straight up. Just do that. So before we do number 10 and 11, questions on how that was derived. Again, just subtract the x's, subtract the y's, do Pythagorean theorem. That's it. That's all you ever do. So I'll do 10, 11. Then I'll kind of have you guys do the rest. So yeah, let's talk about it. Okay, how long is that? From -5 to 1. Nice. Then from 5 to -2. Correct. I'll call this D. So D squared equals 6 squared plus 7 squared. So D equals root 85. Actually, I'll do 12, and I'll have you guys do the rest. 12, you don't really need to waste your time. That's working straight up. How far I go from here to here? Yeah. You don't need to waste your time. Just look at it. The 6. I mean, of course, if you're given just the coordinates, you'd have to recognize that the x coordinates are the same. Hence, you subtract the y coordinates. I mean, if you want to do this for it, go for it. But the x2 minus x1 part is just going to cancel out anyway. So it's just a difference in the y coordinates. So you get 6.
You say D equals 6.
I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. All right, so go and try the rest. Use distance formula for 11. Great question. If you can simplify it, go for it. But if we can't, don't worry about it. It says round to the nearest tenth. Honestly, let's see it as a radical. I don't care if it goes a decimal.
Does it matter which way that we go on that? Like,
Nope, not at all. Yeah, so I think what you're saying is that you do it like this.
So Jake, I can do it like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, and then on the next page, you'll have 16 and 17 for midpoint and distance. Got to do both. So we'll compare in a little bit. And I'll ask for you guys to share answers and we'll verify it.
D equals square 82.
82.
Or root 82.
Yeah, I would agree because you had 9 for your horizontal length, 1 for your vertical length. 81 plus 1 is 82. Root 82, I'd agree. So root 82 makes sense from root 11. Thank you, Jake. And but if you make mistakes, it's okay. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. Just want to help you. Adam, what do you get answer? Do you get answer for 13?
Oh, I got D was root 50.
Root 50. Let's take a look. Yeah, so you're going 5 this way, 5 down. 25 plus 25 is 50. I would agree. Root 50 makes sense for 13. Awesome. Thank you. Wagner, you have an answer for 14.
Yep.
I would agree. Because the distance between these two is 10. The distance between these two is 5. So you're doing root 125. Yeah, I'd agree. Because you're doing 10 squared plus 5 squared. Good. And you go by Peter.
Here.
Peter, yeah. So what do you get, Peter, for root 85? So you're doing, this is 9. This is 2. So doing 81 plus 4, 85. I'd agree. Very good. Thank you. Awesome. All right. Evan, were you able to get the 16? That's okay, no worries. We can do it together. Let's talk about it together. So what are my endpoints? Let's take the take a look at the endpoints. What are the endpoints for number 16? Good. I'll have the other one. Correct. No worries. Now let's do the midpoint. What's half between 0 and 5? 2.5. What's half between 0 and 4? There you go. There's midpoint. Now let's draw a nice right triangle. How far did I go right? How far did I go up? And just square them and square root. So 25 plus 16 is 41. Okay, and lastly, Natalie, what do you think the halfway point is for these two? So you have 1 and -3. Hold on. So you have -3 comma 1. We'll do it together. So you have -3 comma 1 and 1 comma -4. So what's halfway between -3 and 1? Hmm? So if I try to meet in the middle, where are they gonna land? Close. -1. Because you're taking the average. It's okay. You're taking the average. And then how about the y's? That's gonna be a fraction, right? So maybe you're giving the y's. We go from 1 to -4. So that's gonna be -1.5. Yeah. Maybe you're giving me that. And then lastly for the distance, let's draw a lovely right triangle here. How far to go to the right? No, from -3 to 1.
4.
4. How far do I go down?
5.
Perfect. You get the same thing. It's still root 41. So, okay, cool. Let's take a break. It's 9:57. Let's come back around 10:07, 10:08. And then we'll move on to the other stuff. very important. All right, so let's talk about quad form. Here we go. Okay, so the one thing about quad form, it's kind of a not guarantee. I mean, of course, it's a guarantee, but it's kind of just a secure way of getting the answer to a quadratic equation. Like you just plug in a formula, and you get the answer, right? So I did look at some of your quad forms here, and some you guys were plugging in, which is great. And I did provide the formula, obviously. But where you guys kind of fell a little short, to kind of put it in a nice way, is the simplification, as well as the way you're some misconceptions of how you're dividing things. I want to correct that. And I'm going to deliberately kind of do some things that are a little off, so you can kind of see why those would be bad. So I'm going to do yeah, I'm gonna do probably just 2 problems and have you guys. Then we'll do some on the board. I think what we'll do is we'll probably just go outside. It's probably better. It's good that way. I can watch you guys. So let's look at number 1. So you're asked to solve it. Now, fortunately, everything's on the same side. Great. So you gotta identify A, B, and C. A, B, and C. What's A here, guys? What's the number in front of x squared? 1. Number in front of B. -5. And number in front of and C itself is -4. 14. Good. So then you just get, go about the formula. X equals, some people like sing a little jingle with it, but it doesn't really rhyme, so I don't know why there's a jingle that goes with it. But if you want to be melodic about it, go for it. B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. By the way, this is not an equation that just fell out of the sky. There's actually a reason why this works. You guys are not quite ready to understand why it works. Actually, maybe you guys are. You guys said you did complete the square. Yeah, so that's where it comes from. It actually comes from ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Let me just close the door. And you're completing the square. Actually, all right. So yeah, it does come from if you were to do ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 and to complete the square with that, you would stumble upon this formula. So that's where it comes from. But for now, we'll just accept it the way it is. Here it is. Let's plug in. So plug in carefully. So you're replacing b with -5, but it's still another negative on the outside. So make sure you handle that. Very important. Plus or minus the square roots. Now, if you square -5, that should be 25. Minus 4AC. A is 1. C is -14. All over 2A. You should have 25. And you might need a calculator for this one. 4 times, no, no, 4 times 14 is? Or you use a calculator, you tell me. 56, yeah. But it's minus -56. Thank you, Bella. So it becomes plus 56, very important. And because 81, yes, which is a perfect square. So it's 5 plus or minus root 81 all over 2. Or it becomes 5 plus or minus 9 all over 2. So you get 14 over 2. So final answer should be 7 or -2, correct.
Wait, you shouldn't be the other way because it equals 0.
No, we deliberately set, we're not factoring.
Oh.
We're not factoring. So when you do quad form,
The assumption is that you've already taken care of it. Because the quad form assumes that you're doing this complete square process, it already takes care of it for you. So whatever gets spit out is the answer.
it is the answer. Now, if we factored it, right, if I were to factor, I'll do that in red. It would have been x minus 7x plus 2. Seriously, which one's so much easier, factoring or quad form? Yeah, totally. If you could factor it and then just realize, oh yeah, I get x equals 7. Or I get x equals -2. Right? 7 or -2. And yeah. So, but quad form is a guaranteed way because factoring doesn't always work. So be very methodical, be very careful as you go through. There's a lot of negatives are going on here. And we simplify it, make sure you do 5 plus 9 over 2, 5 minus 9, -4 over 2. Clean it up. Don't really see too many other potential errors, but I want to do another one so you see what happens. And I'm going to try to think here. Will that be a good one to do? 6. Yeah. Yeah, let's do 8. Okay. And then we're gonna do the other problems as a group out in the hallway, and I'll watch you guys. We'll get some markers and some towels. I got enough markers to go around, yeah. All right, number 8. Actually, before I move forward, let me undo my work. So any questions on number 1? Made sense? Okay. All right. So let's jump down to number 8. Okay. 9n squared. Very important. You have to get everything on one side first to identify A, B, and C correctly. And I don't believe this is factorable. If you want to factor, don't write this down. I'm just going to try it because I don't think it's factorable. So the A times C, the B down below. What are the possibilities of multiplying -36? -1 and 36, -2 and 18, -3 and 12, -4 and 9, -6 and 6. No. None of these out to 7. So I know this is going to be weird, but weird's good because we want to see what weird looks like. So factoring would be a total futile attempt. Let's not do it. So let's do our quad form. X equals, or n equals, whatever, doesn't really matter. We'll say n equals. So negative of -7. And you're going to get a lot of repetition because we're going to do 6 more problems after this. -7 squared minus 4ac. It's going to get a little weird here. All over 2a. Now, let's work out this junk. 7, because negative and negative is positive, plus or minus the square root of 49. I think it's plus 144. I think. All over 18. Let me check that one. Okay. It's not the one I quite want to do, but it's okay. I wanted to show you another type that involves simplification, but it's all right. I'm sure we'll run into when we do the other problems in the walls. Okay.
Do 7, 18 sharing factors? No, and 193 is such a weird, actually, I think it's a prime number. First of all, it's not even. So it's not gonna be divisible by 2 or 4 or anything like that. Do you guys know how to tell if a number is a multiple of 3? There's a rule. You guys remember the rule to tell if it's a multiple of 3? What do these digits add up to? 193. Yeah, in order to be divisible by 3, the digits have to add to a multiple of 3. 13 is not a multiple of 3, so it doesn't. So it's not divisible by 3. It's not gonna be divisible by 5 because that's n and 5 are 0. You see if it's divisible by 7, I suppose, but I don't think so.
Divide that by 7. Nope. So we're just gonna leave it alone. And that's it is what it is. We'll leave it alone. Now when you're doing homework at home or wherever you're doing homework, you can always verify this answer. Do you guys know how to verify your work in Desmos? Really easy. I'll show you. It's not that hard. And I know you guys are pretty young for this, but in a couple of years, you guys will be doing SAT exams. By the way, I think the SAT will probably start being required at more colleges because the colleges are realizing that they should have not dropped this, but it is what it is. But Desmos is built into the SAT. So for those who are like rising sophomores, you might have the opportunity to do the PST, and it's built into the SAT app. So you have this, so it's a really great tool to use. So what was the equation I had? I had I'll type in like I'll use x, 9x squared. So 9x squared equals 4 plus 7x. Okay. Let me clear the screen for a moment. So what are we doing? We're looking for x-intercepts, right? That's what quad form ever is. It's finding the x-intercepts. Where are my x-intercepts here? Whoa. That's kind of crazy, right? Those are really weird numbers. Now, what did I guess my answer again? 7 plus or minus root 193 over 18, right? So 7 plus or minus root 193 all over 18. Well, what if I do 7 plus root 193? If I do that on my calculator and divide by 18, I will get 1.16. If I do 7 minus root 193 and then divide by 18, I get negative 0.38291. I do get that. So you could always verify the work.
But once you get the quad form by hand, the answer, you can just punch this in a calculator and see the decimal that comes out of the calculator and verify it. Or, you know what?
I don't know why I used a handheld. That was kind of dumb. 7 plus. By the way, to type in square root, you can just type in SQRT. Yeah. There it is. And if I switch that to a minus, there it is. So you could always verify your homework using Desmos. That's a great way to kind of see if you're getting this. Because you want to make sure your homework's accurate, right? Because that's how you learn. You know, if we don't really take the homework seriously, come to the test, you're going to freak out. It happens all the time. Okay, so anyway, I'll get off my soapbox here. Let's go out to the hallway. So I'm gonna take a packet with me so I could watch you guys. I'm gonna grab some markers. No, we'll have markers outside. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, guys, you need yes, do bring your papers. Actually, do bring your papers, guys. Yeah, you need the problems.
Hi, Aaron. Aaron's better. Who? Aaron's better. No. For $14. Be $14 or $16. Oh, $6. Oh, do you know like having short no. Factory wrong.
Yeah, you guys just, be mindful, of the ways. So, okay, now user verification. Markers. They're already here. So you have to be part of that. Help each other out. You got it. I think what I'm going to do is, I'm going to work with announcements and say it's an information that's possible. But, you go to raise that and we'll move to the next one. Okay, and look here. Okay, new race, awesome. Route 16 is for the little going right there. Let's see a marker. That's how it looks. So negative 8 plus minus negative 4 with the eights. Say negative 4 over 8s. Just keep going. Exactly. So, cool. All right. So whatever base sense you want to the next problem, stay where you are. Yes, go ahead. Yeah, we're good. Picture, Good, good. Good. We'll get it. Yeah. We got stay where you are, and then move on to the next problem, the next progression. So if you did it with 4, did it with 5, did it with 5, 100%, so forth. I don't see problem. So yeah, hey, you're really no take. Yes, we'll do it. All right, yeah. X equals negative b.
I know.
Hey, yeah. I'm gonna type. Here we're on.
Yeah, you can. Cannot.
It's actually cool. About cool. Leave it alone, move on, okay, good, move on. I remember that building screen. Oh, 3 times, yeah. Why is right negative? Yeah, so that's here. That is not, yeah, I'm in the hospital. The 29, by the way, is 29.17. So you would have 1 plus 17 before 1 minus 7. Because of that, that's not the square. But yeah, you guys can move on. You guys can, you know. Okay, we're gonna just about 5 more minutes for that in. Yeah. Yeah, good, yeah. Good. But you play together, good. Everything was a lot. Well, most it's not good, not good, some TV. Yeah, so, yeah, that's my favorite. Big. This is a lot of things. Nothing to pass off, but from gate before, it's small. Right, and our. Maybe. Yeah, we've spoken to the past. Cool. That one, that actually proves there.
Oh.
17, so you go. That's not obvious. Yeah, 17 events. Sorry, 17 events. They do 1 plus 17. Or then you have a. Well, there's two other ones. Okay, everyone's good now. So good, even if you didn't finish it, it's all good, you guys got to practice. That's awesome. Work it out. Good, good, let's go in. Yeah, sure, if you can erase the same.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect timing. Let's start the homework quiz. So the homework quiz will correlate with the first homework.
One thing I will have you guys do, you can use your homework. And that's it. I don't want you using anything else. You can actually use the day one homework to help you on the homework quiz.
Oh.
That way, yeah, but
But homework day one.
homework day one, right? So you can use it to help you, because, obviously, do the homework, that was not to do that, right? If you make proper corrections. So, yeah, homework quiz, the 2 sides. So feel free to use your day one homework to help you do this homework quiz. And again, it says 20 points. I just put a point value. I'm not really going to grade it. Just gonna look at it.
Okay, where's point get?
In the middle.
Right, like,
Oh no, I'm only trying to make a mistake. Okay, it's there. Okay.